I have made so many mistakes in my career, and yet I still was able to build a seven-figure real estate business. And I say that from kindness and love, and not, and from a humble place, because I want you to know that, I made a ton of these mistakes, but there was also so many things I could have avoided if I would have just understood these lessons that I'm going to be sharing with you. So, without further ado, let's dive into the 10 best lessons I wish I knew when I started in real estate. So number one is mindset is everything. And I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times, but I'm going to say it in a different way that I'm sure you've never heard it before. So first is the way that you've probably heard it. Success is 80% mindset and 20% action, strategies, and skills. A lot of people forget and they obsess over knowing all of the strategies, actions, and skills, and they forget about the mindset. And the one thing I'm so grateful that I did in my lifetime when I was just coming up in the entrepreneurial world is that I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars going to conferences and going to seminars and reading books and buying courses and coaching programs. And I spent so much money on my mindset. That alone has allowed me to grow as fast as I have in my career. Now, one thing that I heard from Warren Buffett that I thought was so freaking powerful is that you can take away all the stuff, the things, everything in his life, and he'd be able to rebuild it 100%, if not, and then some, is because you can't take this away. You can take everything else away from me, but you can't take this away. This is why I can constantly reinvent and rebuild what I've created if needed. And I've had to do that. A lot of people had to rebuild in COVID. The reason why I was able to do that is because my mindset is so ironclad, is so focused, so built and has been developed over time, because that has allowed me to know that when hypothetically a recession or something like COVID happens, I was able to build a seven-figure business over again in 9 months. Because it's about how you go into the phone call. It's about how you show up in that listing appointment. It's about how you show up, how you be, how you act, not in the action that you're actually doing. Does that make sense? It's about how you show up, the confidence, the courage that you show up on those phone calls and at those appointments and at those networking events, not so much exactly what you do. So make sure you understand and spend the extra money and time developing your mindset, because it will always, always pay off. Number two, consistency will always pay off. Consistency is king. So what happens a lot with real estate agents is that they are really good at following, direction, or they, listening to their mentors, their coach, or whoever is guiding them, their broker, their office manager. And guess what? They'll make calls for a few weeks. They'll do door knocking for a few weeks. They'll do open houses for a few weeks, or maybe a few months if you're lucky. And then they get discouraged. And then they stop. And then they blame real estate for not working. And they get fed up and frustrated and angry. I was there. Have you been there? Right? Yes, we've all been there. Even some of the most successful agents you've ever seen, yes, there was a moment where they felt discouraged. And consistency is more important than anything, because a lot of people, they quit too soon. Consistency is most important in those moments when you want to quit. Consistency is most important in the moments where you truly want to give up, you want to quit, you want to throw in the towel. It is in those brief moments of despair and frustration and anger and regret and pissed, all these things, all these emotions are going on in your head. It is in those very moments that if you continue to do what you know you need to be doing on a daily basis, your whole life will change in moments. Because I know there's been numerous occasions, thousands of moments over my career that I didn't want to make my calls, that I didn't want to go to the networking event, that I didn't want to make my follow calls, that I didn't want to make, whatever calls or, do whatever I needed to do that open house, whatever it was, and I still did it anyways, because I knew over time it would pay off. Consistency will always pay off. It's like doing push-ups. Someone who does 10 push-ups a day for the next 10 years is going to be in a lot better shape than somebody who does 100 push-ups for 2 weeks over a 10-year period of time. If you want to see results, true results, consistency trumps everything. Consistency is so freaking important in everything that you do. And yes, of course you can't just do one open house and see results from it. It's important that you just stay consistent. If you can't do 4 open houses a month or 2 every weekend, because that sounds like so much to do, and yes, I've done 2, I've done 4 in a weekend, 2 on a Saturday, 2 on a Sunday. Just do 1 or 2 every month. If that's something you can stay consistent with your marketing, stay consistent. Post one time a day or twice a week or once a week, whatever you can stay consistent with. When you do your prospecting, call every day for 1 hour. Call 4 times a week for 1 hour. Stay consistent because the consistency is what will actually pay off. Number 3 is your calendar is really what your life will live by. If you want to be successful, most 7-figure real estate agents, most 7-figure earners in general, live and die by their calendar. Time is everything. So what you need to do is eliminate your distractions. Eliminating distractions is so important when it comes to mastering your time. Like hypothetically, let's give you an example. When you're making your calls, and as simple as a distraction of you get a phone call from someone, when you're supposed to be making just your outbound calls, and you get a phone call from your spouse or from a friend or from anything that could be a possible distraction. Someone calls you, and guess what? How many times have you had someone call you, then it derails your whole day because hypothetically they call you, somebody's not feeling well, you got to go back home, and then all of a sudden, your whole day's thrown off because you didn't even make your calls when you were supposed to, or you only made a few calls. Right? We've all been there. Eliminating distractions can be as simple as not answering phone calls and letting everything go into voicemail and you'll return them. By the way, this is a really powerful thing that I did, which I would record a voicemail every single morning and say, hey, this is Henry with EXP Realty. Thank you so much for calling me. I will be returning all phone calls after 1 p.m. today. For a faster response, please shoot me a text message at the exact same phone number, 908-216-6532. Thanks so much, and make it a great day. Changing your word, letting them all know that I will give them a phone call back at a later point because I'm not going to be answering. Every phone call that I have, by the way, 99 times out of 100 will send it to voicemail. 99 times out of 100 because guess what? Most of the time, number 1, people will answer their own questions. Number 2, text me because it's faster, because if you call me and then you distract what I'm trying to do and then you could derail me because it takes, I think they even said that on average it takes 10 to 15 minutes to get back to focused work again after you get distracted. So what I'd rather do is have everyone just text me, leave me a voicemail or text me, prefer text, and then guess what? I can get back to you when I want to get back to you. Nothing's truly that dire of a thing. So eliminate distractions. It can be as simple as setting up a voicemail, as simple as setting up a do not disturb. Simple things. Can be as when you're making your phone calls, make sure you go to the bathroom first, make sure you get fed first, make sure you grab a water bottle, bring everything to your seat, eliminate the distractions. And then you fill those those moments, right? Instead of the TV or all this other stuff that can easily distract you, you fill those things with positive actions, positive things, working out, watching powerful YouTube videos, listening to good content. You can fill that extra voided time with positive stuff. Really keep it simple. Live and die by your calendar. If it's not in the calendar, it does not get done. Number 4, money mistakes. I want to talk a quick moment on money mistakes that I made. Number 1, I spent way too much money on my real estate business, paying for leads, paying for advertising, paying for this, paying for that. It's not necessary. Legitimately. Try to spend the least amount of money possible in running your company. Because every dollar that you save is a dollar that you've profited. Every dollar that you saved is a dollar that you profited. So saving an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month means that your profit margin is that much higher. That means you're profiting that much more money every single month. I spent way too much money. And I also had way too many credit cards when I got started. I opened up a bunch of credit cards. It was what one of my mentors told me to do. I opened up way too many credit cards and I got into credit card debt. Shocker. I spent too much money on my business and I got too many credit cards. Shocker. That's a really bad recipe for disaster. Have one business credit card. That's all you need. You need one business credit card. You can have one personal credit card. You don't need dozens and you don't need 5 credit cards. The real estate world is all about flash. There's no reason to buy $500 shirts, tens of thousands of dollars on watches, thousands of dollars on belts and shoes. There's just no reason for that stuff. What I have realized in my life is that the wealthiest friends that I have don't care. Wealthy people do not care. There's people who want to look rich. I was one of them for a very long time, and I've realized over time that I don't care anymore. That as long as I look presentable, I don't need to be wearing the most fashionable anything because it doesn't freaking matter. It's about how I look up. I'd rather have the most money in my checking account, or the most money in the bank, and own the most real estate than look the flashiest, than look the richest. Because I don't care. It's about how much money you have in the bank. Switch the mindset, like we've talked about. Mindset is key. Make sure you have the right mindset when it comes to money. What I recommend you do when it comes to your money and looking professional is set up a goal for yourself every quarter. If I save this much money and invest this much money, I then can buy myself a nice pair of shoes, a nice suit, a nice briefcase, a nice whatever, right? A nice shirt, whatever, a nice watch, whatever you want. But set up a goal for it instead of just buying it for yourself, because I know you can't afford it. I'm not questioning if you can't afford it, but there's also a difference of can't afford and it's actually making a smart decision. Lesson number 5, the 7 a.m. to 12 noon rule. So what this is that the most successful real estate agents understand that what happens between 7 a.m. and 12 noon every single day will dictate your career. All right, I'm going to say this again. What you do every single day between 7 a.m. and 12 noon will dictate your career. So when I ask somebody on a brand new coaching student, I'll say like, hey, on average, what does your 7 a.m. to 12 noon look like? And they say, well, I wake up at 8:30, 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30 sometimes. I get to the office by like 10 or 11. I start making my calls by like 11:30, 12. Right, then I make an hour or two of calls, then I get lunch. I will be like, you're probably only selling maybe a house a month if you're lucky. And they're like, yeah, I sold 5 houses last year. Exactly. Because what you do between 7 a.m. and 12 noon will dictate your entire career. If you're waking up at 6 a.m. every single day, going to the gym in the morning, and then you're getting to the office by 8 o'clock, 8:30, you've done all the prep stuff that you need to be doing. You write out your goals every single morning. You're specific, with your intention. You've made the calls you all need to make, from 8 o'clock to 10, 11, or 12. You've been making your prospecting calls every day. You do your follow-ups every single day. By 12 noon, you've already probably set up 1 or 2 appointments every day. You've already made 20, 30, 40, 50 contacts by 11 or 12 noon every day. You've made your follow-up. You've set up your open house. Like, everything's dialed in. You're very detailed with your time every morning. I can assure you, you're going to be way more successful than the people who stroll into the office by 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. Again, what you do between 7 a.m. and 12 noon will dictate your entire career in sales. Top earners, they wake up early, they clear their mind, they set their intentions and their goals every single day, they get to work, they put in the freaking hours, they put in the work in the morning, because guess what? For me, by 12 noon, 1 o'clock, I've done so much work already and so much progress on my business. No matter what happens the whole entire rest of the day, I can be completely derailed. But I know for an absolute fact, it doesn't even matter because I put in the work and the energy and the time. Every single day, that block time, that 7 a.m. 12 noon, will dictate your career. Number 6, we're talking leads is your lifeblood of your business. Nothing is more important than lead generation. The amount of leads that you get on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis will completely change your business. You need to pay attention to how many leads you're getting on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and track it over time. Because what needs to happen is that 2 things need to happen on a regular basis. You need to constantly be tracking the amount of leads because you want to be improving the amount of leads that you're getting. The rule of thumb that I've always learned is that you want to get more leads than you're closing. You sign more listings than you're closing last month. Generate more leads this month than you signed appointments last month. Great, you kind of want to continue to grow it every month. More leads this month than last month. More appointments this month than last month. More listings taken this month than last month. More contracts written this month than last month. You want to constantly be improving, and if you're not, you need to ask yourself why. Leads is the lifeblood of your business. If you're wondering why you're not closing more deals, wonder not only how many leads you're getting, but where the leads are coming from. Lesson number 7, follow-up is actually more important than the prospecting in the first place. You know, on average, most real estate agents only follow up 1 time, when most of the time, 90% of sales, or I think it's 80% of all sales, happen between the 5th and the 12th contact. Between the 5th and 12th contact. My rule of thumb is how fast can I get to 5 contacts with every single lead that I touch? How fast can I get to 5? Because I want to know how warm of a lead they are. I'll call you. So I just called you. We spoke. Great. I'm going to send you a text message immediately. That's the second touch. The third touch will be about a week later or a few days later, just saying, hey, it's Henry again with the EXP Realtor. Just saying it was wonderful speaking with you and looking forward to catching up with you next year. Okay, within about a month or so, I can hit them again with a phone call or a text message just to say like, hey, it's Henry again with the EXP Realty. Just want to let you know a home sold right around the corner from your house at X price. I know you're not looking to sell your home for another 11, 12 months, but just wanted to give you the great news that the market's improving, the market's doing X, Y, and Z. If they did not answer, because that would be one. If they didn't answer, you leave them a voicemail and then shoot them a text regardless if you spoke to them or didn't speak to them. Easy way to get to 5 of them in the first 30 days. Minimum. Don't overcomplicate how simplistic it can be. And on top of all that, you can write them a handwritten note, which can be another one. You can send them an email, which can be another one. You can send them a video message, which can be another one. That's how I'm able to get a 5 to 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 contacts within the first 30 days. This is why my follow-up is so powerful, and it really has all become halfway automated anyways. Your follow-up is so crucial because, again, 2% of all sales are done on the first contact. 2%. So if you're wondering why you're not closing more deals, what does your follow-up look like, and what tweaks can you make immediately in your business to make sure you get to the 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 contacts within 30 days of immediately meeting that lead for the first time? Point number 8, team mindset and leverage. So what I was terrified about early on in my career was joining the wrong team, hiring an assistant, all these other things. Like, I wish I hired sooner. I wish I was a part of a team sooner that would have supported me. You can align with a team, option number 1, align with a team that allows you to grow, gives you a commission split that's favorable, does all the back-end support stuff so you don't have to deal with any of that. What that will allow you to do is grow without the hassles, again, with payroll management, training, all this other stuff, handling culture and dealing with all those things. What you really want is the leverage of all the stuff that doesn't pay, really, like those $10 or $20 an hour activities that you shouldn't be doing. Again, you either pay, that's one way, or you go the other route of paying that payroll, hiring an assistant, taking on the management, taking on the training, taking on the overseeing these people. Because a lot of people, they kind of get stuck and they don't do either. And then you're limited and you get constricted, confined. Your growth you struggle to grow because you're holding yourself back. Because if you don't leverage your time, either by yourself by paying the payroll or joining a team and allowing somebody else to leverage basically the money that you're going to be paying them with a split. If you do one of those options, you're going to be able to grow without being constricted because you're going to leverage the things that are not truly worth your time. Now again, leverage is critical to growth. Fall in love with leverage. Fall in love with hiring that person. Fall in love with having partnering with someone who loves dealing with all the paperwork and all this stuff that really doesn't make you money. There are people out there who love to do that kind of stuff. I hire those people to service my clients so I can focus more on the selling aspect because it's what I love and what I'm good at. It also pays the most money. Number 9 is professional partners and referrals. I wish I started networking like I do today when I first started. I wish that someone had told me that if I spent 80% of my time after making my calls on networking, my whole life would be so freaking different. Oh my gosh, I wish I could go back and tell myself, listen, every moment that you're not prospecting, every moment you're not sitting across the table with a client, every moment that you're not doing anything that has to do with lead generation, you should be networking your tail off, building a network, building up relationships, professional partners, people who could refer you business. Because if I could build what I have today so much faster if I would have just started sooner. So many people think that building a referral-based business takes decades. No, it takes a few short years of really good connecting and building value and creating relationships. That's really it. It takes a few short years to build up a pretty heavy network of people who know you, like you, and trust you, and know how to refer you business and have done it in the past. Don't overcomplicate it. Network your tail off now. Commit to 1, 2, 3 years of networking and building your foundation, your professional partners list. And within a few short years, your whole life will change because now 80% of my business is referrals. Imagine being able to wake up on a Monday and then be given 2 people who want to sell their house. It's beautiful. It's an unbelievable experience that will happen if you put in the time. It's time right now. You make the decision to implement it immediately. And number 10, most importantly, truthfully, is that as a real estate agent, you don't have a retirement plan. Corporate America, gives you this false sense of a retirement plan by giving people a 401k, which you can't touch till you're 65 years old. You have this, you have this account of locked up money that grows at a very, very small percentage rate. They claim is tax-free, no this, no that, whatever. It's BS, to be honest with you. In real estate, we don't have a retirement plan. So if you do not build a retirement plan for yourself, you're not going to have one. Therefore, that means you can't retire. So again, you have a few options. This is what I'm telling you now. I wish I did this earlier on in my career. You have things as buying real estate, buying rental property, get the correct life insurance policies that you can fund and then use that to actually buy real estate in the future. The stock market can be one thing, obviously crypto now, and obviously yes, you're going to want a dollar cost average and other things, but if you do not start setting yourself up right now for success when it comes to retirement, you're never going to be able to retire. Because what I see a lot of the time is that I see agents who now make 100, 200, 250, 500, whatever, decent income, and what happens is that they spend everything they make. They're very cash poor. They don't save anything, they don't invest anything, they spend every dollar, they want to look flashy, they want to look rich instead of be rich. And I'm telling you from a bunch of mistakes that I've made is I've been that person who was cash poor making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year until a few years ago when I made the decision to become rich, not look rich. To be wealthy, not look wealthy. Because it is a huge difference. And early on in my career, I wish I would have been putting money away for retirement, putting money away in investment properties, putting money away in the stock market, in crypto, in other things. Slowly but surely, grow it slowly but surely. Surely, here's the best thing. Again, Grant Cardone says this, get rich for sure, not get rich quick. Get rich for sure. When you slowly but surely, when you specifically create a strategic plan about investing money over time that is consistent, and you do it the same way every week, every month, every quarter, every year, you will be wealthy. If you invest in the stock market and in property over a decade, listen, 10 years to retire is not insane. People want to retire tomorrow. If you work really, really hard over a 10-year period of time and you're disciplined with your money and you invest properly, you really shouldn't have to work much more than 10 years if you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I never thought about that. I thought I had to make millions in order to be rich. No, if you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars wisely, you can be rich in a very short period of time. So again, create and start your own retirement plan as soon as possible. Do not wait on anything. If you're only making 30 grand a year, yes, still start. If you're making 300 grand a year, you should have started a while ago, start now. If you're making $3 million a year, again, you think you might not even need a retirement plan because your income's so great. Imagine if your income stopped tomorrow. Imagine if your income stopped tomorrow. You want to have something that will pump out cash, that will allow whatever you save to grow. Because again, it's the best thing in the world is making money while you don't work for it. AKA my rental properties, AKA the stock market. It sits there, I don't do any work, it will grow over time. But again, when you build a retirement plan, it's not a 2-year plan. It's a 10 minimum year plan, 10, 20, 30, 40 year plan. That's what gets you wealthy. That's what's going to completely change your life. Think long term, but start today. Okay, listen everybody, those were my 10 favorite, most important, most impactful lessons that I wish I learned at the beginning of my career. I would love for you to put some questions down below. What would be some challenge, or what are some challenges? What are some objections that you're getting in your business? What are some challenges and barriers and obstacles that you're trying to overcome right now? And I want to start creating some videos to really help you out, specifically in your business where you're at today. And again, if you want to take your life to the next level, you need to DM me right away. DM me on Instagram. DM me the word coach on Instagram if you're interested in taking your life and business to the next level, because I have an unbelievable coaching product that is legitimately changing people's lives. If you want to be the one person in your family to literally change generations to come, build generational wealth, my Millionaires Club is for you. It is not for everybody. It's legitimately for only people who want to be the defining person in their family, who want to be the legendary individual, the people who legitimately make a name for your last name. If that's you, you need to DM me the word coach on Instagram, and we're going to get you hooked up. I love you guys so very much, and I'll see you in the next video.